What we're going to show you today is the Skyle, which is the new EyeGaze system for iPad. Now, this is very new, incredibly new. In fact, it was flown over from the UK on Wednesday. So the one we're actually using is a pre-production prototype one. So please bear with us. The more people looking, the more chances there are it doesn't work. That's how technology works. So we'll do our best. That's better. I'll end up with a bad back if I had to stay like that. Okay, first of all, my name's Nigel Wallace, and I'm from a company called Inclusive TLC. You may have heard of us, you may not have, but we're the US distributor of Skyle. Now, as you can tell, I'm not from the US, but we are based in North Carolina. It's just North Carolina, we have a very funny accent down there. So, but originally, I came over 15 years ago from a company called Inclusive Technology and opened up their US office over here. So I've been here 15 years, just a bit long in the tooth to pick up the accent. So we're bringing in the Skyle. Like I say, the Skyle is the EyeGaze system for iPad. Is that better? You can't hear me then, no? Am I too loud? Was I too loud? Is this better? Oh, I like louder. No, okay. All right then. So it's the first EyeGaze system, and one of the things that allowed us to develop this system was Apple introduced in their latest operating system, iOS 13, a thing called Assistive Touch. I don't know. Hands up if you know what Assistive Touch is. Okay. For the few that didn't put the hands up, it's a new feature built into the operating system that allows you now to connect a mouse or mouse alternative onto your iPad, plug that into your iPad, and when you plug in, a cursor appears on screen. So you now have mouse control of the iPad. So that opens up the iPad to a whole new group anyway. So anybody who can use joysticks, tracker balls, thumb devices, they can all now have access to iPads using iOS 13 and Assistive Touch. So that's a nice thing to start with. But the beauty of that was it allowed us to work with an EyeGaze manufacturer to develop basically an eye-controlled mouse. So Skyle is a result of the EyeGaze technology from the German hardware company. Our input as Inclusive, developing the software element that calibrates and drives the mouse, and Apple's Assistive Touch software. So the combination of those three allowed this device to be created. Unfortunately, what we can't do is project the actual Skyle screen, so we're doing it via a video link from just another iPad here. It's a prototype. Not everything's perfect to start with, but at least we've managed to get something so you can see the representation on screen. I won't go into Assistive Touch in any more detail than that. If you want to see any of this, we are on booth 403. Come and have a look. I know a lot of you already have done, because I saw the Skyle for the very first time about 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And since then, I've probably had 30 minutes time on it myself, because everybody else has been looking at it. So bear with me. We'll do our best. I've brought my beautiful assistant Janet with me, who spent a lot more time on it than I have. This is George. So he's going to be my eyes for me. And as you can see, what we've got on... Do you want to just go back to the desktop to start with? So on the desktop, you can see that we've got the cursor moving around the screen. But along the bottom bar, once you get the device, is the Skyle application. So you open the app, and this is where you do your calibration and set things up. When you open it, it will automatically open Assistive Touch for you, so all that side is taken care of. What you then need to do is position, in our case, we're going to position the user to the device because we're being quick. But obviously, what you want is the user in a comfortable position, get the device set up so that their eyes are in the center of that video screen. Once they're in position, you can turn that off and we'll start the calibration. Now, we have two options of calibration, 5-point or 9-point. We're going to do the 9-point. Personally, as the system is at the moment, 9-point is the one to go for. We would like to, we're constantly tweaking the software, we're playing with the algorithms, we're going to get the accuracy much better, but for now, 9-point is the one. So then we go through, calibrate on the 9 points, and we get a score, and it's represented with stars. And this is why George is my eyes, because he's got 5 stars on every point, so we're good to go. So once you've done that, he can just look at the done screen or the palette there. And that floating palette is part of Assistive Touch. So that floating palette gives you access to all the external buttons on an iPad that you can't touch on the screen. So he did the home key, and now we've gone into Pro Loco to go, I believe. So we're in a communication package here now, and all George is doing is moving around with his eyes. We have the dwell select feature selected, which is again part of Assistive Touch. You can change the duration time that you need for it to be accepted as a dwell. All it does is pause on an object, it will make that selection for you, and away you go. And it really is that simple. And you can see as he's moving around, it's tracking very well. You may have tried this yourself. It's not always been that good for everybody in the hall here, but please feel free to come over to the booth and have a go with it yourself. We've just changed the package now. Now, all these packages are just standard communication applications that have had nothing special done to them. So it's just Pro Loco. This one's predictable, should I say, sorry. So any application that you use on an iPad, you can now use with your eyes and with the Skyle system. So again, whenever he's finished with the program, that little palette is always floating on top of whatever app is there. So he's got access to the home button. So we've got full independent access. We could, and we should, probably configure the iPad slightly better for an EyeGaze user. But like I say, this has all been very rushed. We're now listening to music. So you've got access to iTunes, everything like that. Now you probably can't hear. The amplification's not bad. But I turned it off. Okay. In a normal situation, I don't know whether have you got volume fully up. But obviously, another thing you can do, because it's iPad, connect a Bluetooth speaker. So you can amplify it with anything that you have to hand. What the actual Skyle consists of is this whole case that surrounds it, and built into the case is the EyeGaze unit here at the bottom. And then what you would do is you would place your iPad into the case. It needs to be, it's written on that sheet, but I believe it's the iPad Pro 12.9 third generation. That's the one that we chose to pair this system up with. It's the highest spec one that they do. It has the best battery life. when you put your iPad inside the case, there's a cable that you connect into your iPad port, and that drives everything. So the EyeGaze is already wired in. You just plug it in. The port is still available on the outside, so you can still charge the unit. You can charge it whilst using it, or you can use it running off its battery. It is so new that we don't have specs yet as to how long the battery will last. I'm sure it's going to shorten the length of active time, because obviously the EyeGaze system itself does require some power. So, but I mean, you can do it battery, or you can plug it in, and whilst it's charging, you can still be using the system. The other thing, what we were doing before was we were moving with our eyes onto the object we wanted and then paused, and that dwell would make the selection. Another option is you can plug in to the case a switch, and then you can look at the object you want and press your switch when you want to select that. So you can either dwell select, or you can select with a switch. Okay? The case that it comes in has what is known as standard VESA mounting on the back. VESA is just a standard for where the holes are on the back of the unit. Most monitors are VESA mount monitors, so you can go to any place and go on Amazon, look for VESA table mounts, and pick a mounting system up that would fit the scale. Okay, and with the technical difficulties we had, are we doing all right for time? Is it? Okay, time's up, but who cares? Nobody's pushing me off the stage. So we can either have a singer-song, or if anybody's got any questions. Yes? Sorry? Oh, is there one camera? Yeah, there's one camera that it's using. It has different pickup points, so it's transmitting from the edges and receiving back in. But that is the extent of the camera on the bottom there. Yes. The mount is just a mount I bought off Amazon. So this mount is this mount is, not that I want to sell things for Amazon, but you'll see me on QVC next week. But this mounting system here, it's height adjustable, but it's height adjustable with an Allen key. But it has tilt, it has swivel. It was $24. Okay. Exactly. If you need bespoke mounting for wheelchairs, like I say, it's got VESA mounts on the back. So if you contact Readapt, let them know it's a VESA mount system. They have VESA mount plates. So it will go with specialised mounting systems like Readapt and Daisy, or it will go with standard monitor. It does not over and above what you have on your iPad, but yeah, I mean we just already had one on our iPad anyway when we put it in, so it will go in there with one, but it doesn't come with one. But it doesn't come with the iPad. No, the camera's not affected by that at all. No, that one does have one on. Anybody else? All right. Okay. Well, like I say, please feel free to come over to the booth and have a go yourself. We'll be here all week, as they say. And thank you for listening and bearing with us when we had the issues before we got started. All right? Thank you.